Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What is up, my VO people? Come on in. I'm admitting folks into the space. It makes me feel like I'm holding a door, at a party, which is what I want to be doing on this Thursday afternoon. Hi, come on in. Welcome. Got a few more people letting y'all in. I will continue to let y'all in as we get going, but let's be punctual, folks, ish. And start doing stuff. Caitlin, you're joining. Hi, my people. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Dan. What's up, Patrick? Great to see you again. Amanda, we love you. So great to see Amanda. Amanda's kids are one of the highlights of our AMAs, genuinely. So everybody check out her screen. She's great to watch.
Two of them today. Hello.
I don't know. How many people can you see?
They're growing so fast.
How many people can be in this?
We can go up to 300 because we upped our, yeah. And so we were currently at 120. Hello. Okay, great. Hi, Cornelia. Nice to see you. Hi from Burbank. Hi, everybody. Oh, Barry, yes, these glasses were summer vibes. We're doing it. We're bringing some light into your world. And I'm so happy to be with you all. So what's up? Welcome. Just doing the admitting while I begin. My name is Siobhan, and I'm the social media and community liaison for Edge Studio. To my Zoom right, I don't know if he's at your Zoom right, is our dear Chief Edge Officer, David Goldberg.
Hello.
If you've been with us before, you've met him. If this is your first time, welcome. We are both so happy to have you. And we are pumped because today is our first time having a guest star. Certainly a guest star in my life, Mr. Johnnie Heller. He's to my Zoom left. He is one of our voiceover coaches and instructors. He's an award-winning audiobook narrator and a genuinely wonderful human being. And if you don't know him, then I'm so excited for you to get to know him. Yes, Joyce. Howdy from LA, Byron. Thank you. I'm so glad everyone appreciates my glasses today. I was like, is this too much? I don't know. So with that being said, we're going to get started because we want to try to get to y'all's questions. So the way it's going to work is you're already utilizing the chat. Hello to my people all over the place. We got Philly, we got New Jersey. Definitely not too much. I appreciate you, Bolton. So let's begin. Johnny's here to answer. I want to gear the conversation towards audiobooks and commercials today so that we can utilize Johnny's skills and talents. This is a place for us to talk about voiceover. Everybody is welcome here. We do this because we can't be together in person, but community and togetherness is really important for us. And so that's why we're here. So it's a positive space. And if you don't want to be a positive person, then this is not the place for you. So
get out of voiceover.
Yeah, get the hell out of here.
So hello. So with that being said, if you want to just start dropping some questions, hopefully audiobook and commercial specific in the chat. Let's get this rolling. And David's here to back you up for any tech stuff that Johnny may not want to answer, because we know Johnny doesn't like those questions.
Johnny doesn't know the answers.
I don't know them either. I just make stuff up,
He does know. David does know. From Helen, for larger and longer projects like audiobooks, I find that I sometimes sound different at the beginning and the end. For example, pitch is different, voice becomes drier. What are your tips, Johnny, for maintaining similar voice quality throughout a project?
Well, for you, the fact that you're aware of it is crucial. When you record an audiobook, if you start your day, let's say, for example, 10 in the morning, I know what kind of person, you have to know your own clock, but let's say you're bright and chipper and you start chapter 1, da, 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 da. By the end of the day, after you work a few hours, it's chapter 7 and you're a little less excited. So when you get back the next morning to return to work, or the next time you return, you have to listen to what you just sounded like to finish. So when you pick up on, let's say you finish chapter 7, and then now you're going to chapter 8. Chapter 8, you can't pop in like you just did, couple kilos of coke. You gotta be like you were. So listen to how you finished, and I'll bet you can do a good impersonation of yourself. So what you do is you start chapter 8, kind of in the same tone. You finish chapter 7, and then gradually your energy ramp up gradually, so it doesn't assault the listener. But that's a great question. That's the only way to really do it. Listen to how you finished, kind of copy that, then gradually increase to where you are, and then people, as they listen along, they'll get as tired as you are talking.
Hey, Johnny, let me ask you a follow-up question. What if, and I don't know the answer to this, but what if a voice actor at some every period of time, like every half hour or at the beginning of every chapter, sort of does a reset of themselves. How would that work out?
I think the idea of a reset I like, and I do it a lot because we're all working from home basically for all the reasons. You've got to get up and get out. And I don't think the reset should be, let me do a chapter, then go to Facebook and Twitter while I stay in the same space. You need to get up, get out of that workspace, whether it's every half hour or every hour, just get out. Say hello to the wife and the dogs or the husband or whatever, walk outside for to get some fresh air and then come back in. It makes a monster difference because you feel better. You're not aware of, look at the little space I'm in. I'm in a little, this is like the TARDIS, but it's really as small inside as it is outside. It's just too small. So being in here a long time is insufferable and it's really hot. So yeah, you should get up every hour. I take a few minutes and just get up and get out of the booth. So when I come back, I'm like, yeah, ready to go. That's a great idea. For me, it's necessary part of my workday.
I know Johnny likes to joke about people who sit versus stand during audiobook narration. For any audiobook people, can I get jazz hands if you actually stand when you're reading your audiobooks? Oh, Christina. Okay, let me check my screens. Who else stands? We have a few. Okay, Jay Hurd and Christine. You guys are ballers. That's pretty cool. I know Johnny likes to sit, but then he walks around. So we got that balance.
It's all set up for that. If there are those chairs, those drafting chairs, if you get one of those, you can kind of set it so that it can mirror your sitting. It's the only way you can. If you decide to sit in a book, to sit, then you're sitting the whole time. If you're standing, you have to stand. You can't change it because it really changes the sound. So you've got that's a David thing, but you can't mess with it. You can't suddenly be over here and think it sounds the same. It just doesn't. So whatever decision you make is the decision you have. And because I started, back in the early 1800s, we've just been sitting since then. So I intend to continue to sit.
So
yeah.
when
you stand in.
So Johnny, when you began in the 1800s, I guess there wasn't any nonfiction books about history, right?
No, there
wasn't any history.
Yeah,
right?
It was all futuristic, and we'd get the book and we'd yell out the window because there's no taping system either. Chapter 1, we'd yell out.
These two. Okay, let's bring it back. Let's reel it in. I got Fleece over here. What's up, Fleece? Fleece is saying, oh, we're switching to commercial, Johnny. I realize, oh, nope, we're on audiobooks. Forgive me. I realize it's important to have commercial demos made professionally, but can you create an audiobook demo in your home studio?
You have the ability to do almost any demo in your home studio. The problem is that it's probably not directed, maybe not cut right. One of the biggest problems in audiobooks, the reason it's surging so much is the advent of home studios. The problem is people don't understand the notion of self-direction. It's very difficult. If you have David or me or Carol Mond or one of our people direct you in a demo, you have the advantage of another set of really skilled ears who can help you. So can you physically make a demo? Yes. Should you? I don't think so. On the other hand, because a demo's ever changing, and Dave will back me up on this, you need to remake your demos frequently. So once let's say you're starting out and you have to understand when to make a demo for one thing, because a demo basically demonstrates where you are in the business right now. And if you put together a demo before you're any good at it, people will say, wow, that guy sucks. And they'll remember that no matter how good you get later. They'll remember, oh, that was that guy that sucked a few years ago. And that's they'll think about. And that's not the branding I want to go with. I don't suck as bad. That's my new brand. So you want to make sure that you've got someone listening in. I think it's wise. Certainly your first demos, always a commercial demo, always other demos. Certainly audiobook, I think you should have someone with you directing, another set of ears. Can you physically and engineering wise make an audiobook demo? Yes, because there isn't any music or anything like that. It's not fully produced. It's you. You can take it from, and if you take a demo from an audiobook, like let's say you have a book on Amazon or ACX, they always have, I don't know who picks the sample, but it's never a good sample. Listen, they're awful. That's an awful piece. You would never, it's like take a monologue for theater to audition, you're not going to take the worst part of the play. You're taking the best part. So you should make the decision. And I wouldn't take it right from your book. I would, if you like pages 219 and 220, I would take those pages and record them again as a standalone demo, as a standalone audition piece. And I would love to have, and I think a director on that is pretty much necessary, yeah. So I would use that studio personally, but that's me. But I definitely have somebody direct you.
David, did you have you had your hand up? Did you anything you want to say, or are we good?
No, that was a scratch, and I scratched it good. So, no, I will back you up on all that, Johnny. The only thing, actually, I will add one thing. Johnny was nice enough to talk about having someone like me or Carl Mond to direct a demo, but you can also have Johnny direct your demo, and certainly he is incredibly skillful.
I'm a student of Johnny's myself, so I can certainly say that it's an excellent experience. And I'm going to transition with Alexis. Hey, Alexis, thanks for being here. Alexis is asking, I'm going to pitch this to David. Can you help with advice about buying a mic? I've heard that mics sound different for different people and recording spaces. So how do you choose what sounds good for you? She's looking to upgrade from a USB.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's, I would not upgrade from a USB just because you have a USB. There are some USB microphones which are better than, other types of standard microphones. But you're right. I think it was Alexander who asked that question. Sorry, I forgot already. But you're absolutely right. Microphones do react differently to different people. And the type of microphone that you choose really ought to be based upon the quality of your voice, the genre that you are recording, and most specifically the audio acoustics of your studio. So I can't suggest a microphone because I don't know any of those three things, and they are really critical. But I would say hire an engineer, someone with trained ears, to be able to listen to you on different microphones and figure out which microphone sounds best. A lot of companies, a lot of music retailer shops will let you try out different microphones, but if you go to a shop and you listen to 10 different microphones and you don't know what to listen for, it's meaningless. Plus, you're trying the microphone out in their space and not your own space. So again, it's totally meaningless. You can work with someone, like I said, an engineer. One of the engineers at Edge Studio can provide comments. We offer something where you can do sort of like a home studio private consultation. We would have you take pictures of your booth and look at the dimensions and understand the quality of your voice and listen to the acoustics of your space. And based upon that, we can make a determination. Your USB microphone might be great. The reason, and I'm assuming you don't like the sound quality, and maybe the sound quality is not great because of the acoustic treatment. Like maybe your microphone is great and you just need to change the foam on your walls or something like that. So there are lots of considerations. So before you go and spend money on a whole new microphone, just talk with an engineer who really gets this industry and understands microphones. That's my suggestion.
Okay, great. I want to shout out, somehow people's mics are getting unmuted. I'm not really sure, but it just creates a lot of interference. I'm trying to cover it while I'm going through the screens, but not that I want y'all to be silenced. That's not how I want to live, but like, it's just going to help us be clear to each other if everybody stays muted. I do love you. So I want to speak to Pamela, who is asking, maybe this is a quicker question. She stopped reading audiobooks about 10 years ago, and her technical ability was appalling using Pro Tools. So what software would you recommend? And I don't know if actually Johnny wants to take this because he doesn't identify as a tech-savvy person.
Well, I do have software. What you need, I know James Rumbick is on this call, and he'll say, Reaper. I have Pro Tools. That's the industry standard in most of the publishing houses that I switched, although my wife Joanna remains with Pro Tools. I switched to Studio One because I was getting tired of Pro Tools doing evil things. I like Studio One. I think Reaper may be pretty, there's Twisted Wave and Reaper and Ocean and just a ton of them. What you need, and first you need a refresher course with somebody who can tell you about it. If you use Reaper, then get James. If there's people who can help you. the software, you need something that creates a WAV file and allows you to punch record. That's what you need. So whatever you're happy with is what you want, because it's single track recording. It's not multi-track. You need to have a WAV file. You need to be able to punch record. That's it. So whatever seems to work for you. Pro Tools is fine, except it just seems to have it's expensive, and B, it seems to have all these little damn things happen that mess you up, and all of a sudden you lose a nice chunk of your day, and it's a wee bit frustrating.
So I want to keep us rolling here, and getting back into some of the acting. Christina is asking about what your techniques are to stay focused on the author's intent. She's asking about narrator neutral, which I'm not sure what that is. But can you speak a little bit on that, Johnnie?
My guess is for narrator neutral, she means the idea that I'm not interjecting my thoughts, my opinions, my feelings on what the author has to say. If I understand that correctly.
She's nodding.
In a big sense, the idea is that audiobook narration is sharing the author's truth. That doesn't help that much, because what does that mean? The way I like to phrase it is this: when the author writes, his words create images in your head as you read. There's the book, there's you, there's your images. It's like a film in your head. The job of the narrator is to create that same film in the listener's head. So the way to stay always involved is to always behave like a cinematographer. Set up the shot, see the shot, what's happening in the scene, what's going on, what am I looking at through my lens of the camera? What kind of scene? Is it sepia? Is it bright? What's going on? What's outside? What are the noises like? Things that aren't even in there, because your mind creates a whole image, a whole picture. Share that picture. And every time that picture begins to blur, like in Zoom when someone freezes, every time that happens, that's why you can punch record. You've lost the connection to the truth now. If while you're recording, you're thinking about, a tuna sandwich would be good about now, I would suggest that the author doesn't have that in his mind. And even though you're still speaking, you're not telling a story anymore. So go back to where the tuna sandwich interfered, and go make a tuna sandwich, eat it, and then come back and finish. So you've got to stay. It's a difficult thing, because while audiobook narration is a long day, it has to be broken up, because the mind can't stay in tune that long. But if you can watch the Avengers for 2 hours or whatever it is, you should be able to keep that picture in your mind for 2 hours too. It's the same idea. That was brilliant.
Beautiful. Thank you, Johnnie.
Somebody write that down.
Yeah. a little less creative of a question here for you is, when should you be editing breaths? She's asking about commercial, but I'm going to gear it more towards audiobooks, because I think that's a question more people would be interested in. And I see people are kind of responding. James has ideas. I love when people get involved in the chat. But Johnnie, what do you think about breaths in audiobooks?
Okay, I want to hear from David on this too. But since I'd say you edit your breaths when you sound like a wheezing asthmatic. If you're going, then I think you want to take that out. The idea of an audiobook, that's a human being. There's not a single actor in any film or stage presentation I've ever seen who didn't breathe throughout the run. It's kind of how we, carry on. So I've been breathing this whole time. I think we all have. You can take a breath without, it's not unusual. I think it's abnormal not to hear it. So I think, but hearing it, being aware of it is different than hearing it. If I'm going, and then she walked around the corner and saw that there was a Chevy parked waiting for her, then that's a problem. We can't have that. Then you want to edit. You don't have to edit that out. You know what you have to do is just stop doing that. Seriously, stop doing it. So that's my advice. David, yeah, want to jump on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think that one of the problems that so many people have when getting into voiceover is that they work the words so hard. They try so hard. They read with so much vocal tension that it causes their breaths to be louder than normal. So now their breaths do sound abnormal. And then it sucks for you, because you do need to go in and lower the level of breaths, and that can be tricky and terribly time consuming. So yeah, if you speak naturally, if you speak to one listener, just like you'd be talking with someone who's right beside you, then your breaths should not be any louder than they naturally are. And in which case, unless you have abnormally loud breaths to begin with, then you should be fine.
Yep. Yeah, I have a quick question. When David freezes, like you just froze a second ago, does he freeze for everybody, or is that just me? How's this work? I'm curious.
It's hard to say, you
Did
know.
he freeze
It
for
might
everybody? Because
not necessarily, Johnny.
oh, I'm just curious how this
That's the
thing works.
magic of the Zoom room, is that we're all having a very different experience. You can pin a video if you want. You can be on speaker mode. You can be I like gallery because I like to see y'all. So I'm gonna hit up Beth next. Beth has been doing audiobooks in Minneapolis. Yay, we love Minneapolis for a long time. Dozens, can't count, from textbooks to self-help to reading programs, books for kids. She's not pursued audiobook work on her own. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but can you talk about audiobook demos and marketing specifically for folks with experience? How do you want to tackle that, Johnny?
I want you to rephrase it. Say it again. What?
Yeah, she's saying the actual question is, can you talk about audiobook demos and marketing? Maybe can you just tell us what a good audiobook demo is, and how you determine that for your students? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, in terms of a good demo, it should be you doing some really good work. You break down audiobook demos, unlike a commercial demo, which is like 1 minute long, 8 to 13-second bits of spots that show a nice range and juxtaposition of styles within that 1 minute. An audiobook demo is 3 to 15 different spots that are differentiated by genre, each one about 1 to 3 minutes long. Definitely you need fiction, nonfiction, because those are the two main things. There's a million little things under there. You need a male-female dialogue, because frequently in books, a male and a female will chat. You need to show that you can do that. You need to write down, no one cares if it's Charlotte's Web. They care young adult, fiction, male-female dialogue, Americana, humor, broken up by slashes. And they want 1 to 3 minutes of that. Then they want the next thing, nonfiction, history, Civil War, military, fiction, science fiction, space, adventure, that kind of thing. So each one's differentiated by the genre more than the title. And in terms of marketing, you need a website. And when you get your website, you don't spend all your time saying, Johnny enjoys high school very much or something like that. We don't care. Get the demos up there. And when you reach out to talent buyers, they can't be more than 1 click away from the demo. Don't make them search. Make it as easy to find as possible. They're not stupid, but they are time constraints. So make it possible they can get right in. They go to Johnnie Heller, bam, there's a demo. Or just send them the demo link if it's in a different drop down on your website, depending what you have. Okay, does that answer kind of?
Yeah, let me throw in one thing. When we are casting, it's very helpful for voice actors to separate their audiobook snippets on their demo or on their website by listing the genre that Johnny's mentioning rather than the title. So if we're looking for an example of an audiobook narrator who can do female dialogue, I'd like to find an audiobook narrator who has 5 or 10 different snippets on their website, and one of them says male-female dialogue. That way I know which sample to listen to, rather than have to listen to 10 or 20 minutes of different samples to figure out whether or not the voice actor can actually do the male-female dialogue. So yeah, the title to us who are casting is much less important than the description of what the voice actor is doing.
Yeah, I always think, how can I make the casting director's or talent buyer's job easier so they'll hire me faster? Don't be part of the problem, be part of a solution.
So my next question is from Lisa, who is saying that she just finished her commercial demo just before coronavirus hit. I was hoping to get my VO career rolling, and then everything came to a halt. I was hoping to do an animation demo, but now I'm unemployed. That's on hold. There's a lot of VO happening. Do you think it's a good time to reach out for representation and send out my commercial demo? Can we start with you, Johnny?
Actually, you froze in the middle of that. So she made a demo, and she wants
Yes.
to get it out, and she doesn't know how to get it out now because of the pandemic.
Yeah, I think some pandemic-related anxiety regarding what do I do now? Is it different now? How do I do this?
It's not significantly different because people are still making commercials. the thing that slowed up the most in terms of the voiceover world, I think, is union commercials, because they tend to use union studios, union actors, union everybody, and no one can go anywhere. So we can't do that. So if you have Source Connect or something like that, which is not expensive to get, you can even get one that's I'm not going to go tech with you, but you can get Source Connect so that you can do that. Some commercials say must have Source Connect, or I recently did something that they could direct me via a phone patch. So a lot of things work. If you have a home studio, you can still market your demo. What you have to be able to have a studio that's broadcast quality. That's the key. But you can still go ahead and start working. The same people you were going to hit up prior to the pandemic are still in business. They're still looking for people. Nothing has changed in that respect. The only difference is we can't go out to happy hour right now. Also, it's too early for happy hour, but still. Yeah.
David, any thoughts on that? Oh, Lisa's also saying that she's union.
Yeah, well, see, there's as am I, and my opportunities have shrunk significantly. And I don't know if there's anything, I don't intend to work non-union, so fortunately my plate is full with audiobook work. There are other things to do besides commercials, but even as a union actor, when things were normal, the market is always up and down. And there's always going to be a differentiation and a disparity between union work and non-union work. Understand that you can, and you should research this with the union and with Falcon Paymasters. Talk to Melissa Exelberth. I can't say Exelberth. About how to turn an Edge. She has a class, I think, with Edge. How to turn non-union work into union work. It can happen. Many of the commercials you're offered to audition for a non-union, if you put them to the union paymaster, that's the simplest way to say this, can become union. There are all these little things have to be in place, but it can happen. So there is some work. It's just harder for us. That's all. But the benefit is still swell.
I have a kind of specific question, but it might apply to multiple people. My friend Shah over here is asking. He's asked a few questions, but particularly about having an accent. So he's also been talking about speaking Hindi and things like that. So I'm assuming perhaps he has an Indian accent. And how does that apply to an audiobook demo, for instance? Does an accent impact an English speaking demo?
Sure it does, because you have an accent. What happens is people who have an accent wonder why they can't get work. For people who don't have an accent, it's different. I mean, I speak like this. If I want a Hindi accented narrator, then that's great. But yeah, you have to understand. Everyone has to understand exactly what they sound like and exactly what they can do. I've done a book. I did a whole British mystery series with a British accent because my background's British. But that was weird, and even I fought not to do it. So I said, there are plenty of Brits around who can do this. I would not audition for, there's certain things, I mean, you have to know what you sound like. So if you are Spanish accented or Hindi accented or Italian accented, then your demos are going to demonstrate that. Don't make it a negative, make it a positive. Because if someone's looking for someone who can, a native Italian, a Sicilian speaker, there you are. Does it limit the number of books? Sure it does. But get the ones that are there. Everybody in every country writes. There are books from everywhere. So go get them. But yeah, don't think that you're going to get the same opportunities Johnnie Heller gets in the English-speaking world, because it's my native tongue and I speak it. If it's not yours and you don't, and you speak it accented, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's something that you're either going to sell or not sell. It's either going to make it or break it, assuming talent is there. Does that make sense? I mean, it is what it is. That's a horrible thing to say. I hate that expression, but it is.
Yeah, let me add on though. Like Johnny said, it's not bad. Make it a good thing. Make it a positive thing. Make it ultra clear when you market yourself what it is that you sound like. Everyone should do this for every language they speak, for every accent that they have. Make it super clear. A question came up in the Ask Me Anything from 2 weeks ago. It was an interesting question. Someone asked, about marketing because they had I think they spoke Australian English and they wanted to market in the States. And I said, of course, market here, similar as you with the Hindi accent. But I said, make sure when you market, you let the talent here or the prospective buyers here know that you don't just speak English, you speak Australian accented English. Make it clear so people who will hire you know how to label you. Make it easy for them to know how to file you in their database so they know when to call upon you. Because if you don't make your branding clear, then they're not going to do it for you. And certainly on your demo, on an audiobook demo, then you would demonstrate titles that make sense. You may read some nonfiction about the history of Hindi, whatever. Incorporate samples that have, language that makes sense for your accent. And it's totally fine. And like Johnny said, there are lots of books in every country requiring every accent. There's less opportunity, but there may be fewer books in the States. So, maybe you actually have more opportunity than others.
All right, let's keep it rolling. Joe McMurray, my friend, I love seeing you every week. Thanks for coming every other week that we're here. So he's asking, it was suggested at the start of my training that I concentrate on narration and commercial genres. I've always seen myself and been told by others to dabble in audiobook. I'm not yet prepared to argue the point, but what can I do in my training to potentially branch into audiobooks without making waves or appearing not to be accepting of the experts?
First, don't worry about them. If you want to do audiobooks, don't do it. Screw that. It's your career. Seriously, you do what you want. Yeah, and so if you do the narration, I mean, we're really not that far away from the audiobook experience in narration. To find out if you like audiobooks or if you can do audiobooks, read a book aloud for a couple hours. I mean, my friend Sean Pratt and Scott Brick, they say, go in a closet. I wouldn't go in a closet. Just sit in your chair, open a book, and start reading aloud for a couple hours. See how you feel about that. Don't worry about people around you feel about that. But yeah, see if it's what you like. But since you're dabbling in narration, you can dabble in audiobooks. If you want to try it, try it. There's nothing. The experts have thoughts. They think, oh my God, I think you'd be really good in this market. But you say, I want to do this. Nothing stops you from doing that. Just because I do commercials and audiobooks doesn't mean I can't do e-learning and narration. Frankly, I don't have time. I don't have time to do other things. But I want to do e-learning. There's probably a lot more loot. I mean, audiobooks doesn't pay a hell of a lot of money. It's a lot of work. And what I like about it is it's kind of an organic acting experience, as close as I can get to being on stage without a proscenium arch. And I can play different roles. So I've done over 800 titles. I haven't done over 800 plays. But financially, you make more in a commercial. There's no question. When I started in commercials, my first one was for Campbell's Soup. And I went, that was it. I got $15,000. They went all over the world to try and find a guy who go, They picked me. Crazy. And I said, this is a great business. But I mean, for 15 grand, I'll say anything. So I've never made that much on a single audiobook, but I have made that much going, Yeah, so you dabble away. If you want Joey Mac, you just try it. There's no reason you can't do that. No, none. Especially now because there's nothing else to do.
That is awesome. Johnny, one of our pals was asking, it's further up here, was asking about warm-up exercises for your voice. Do you do anything like that?
Did you hear me singing my crazy songs? I was getting coffee.
I wish you guys could see the pre-show of this because it's very hilarious, and especially with Johnnie and David this time, it was gold. But yes, so tell us, Johnny.
Many actors have vocal warm-ups, and there are tons. For as many actors as there are that many different ideas about what works. I am either blessed or not blessed. I sound exactly the same all the time and have for years. So there's a little Shakespeare thing I do sometimes, but all I ever do, if I'm not sure, I go really, ma, me, mo, moo, that thing, ma, me. I do that in the mid-range, ma, me, and then I go, ma, me, way up, and then, ma, me, then way down, and then I'm done. Now, other people do a bunch of stuff. I mean, a bunch of stuff, throat coat and all this stuff, and I do none of it. I'm not against it. I've never had a need. Nothing has ever changed. So I'm in favor of vocal warm-ups for those who need to do vocal warm-ups. I get up when it's time. I have my coffee and I go to work. I don't do anything. That's just me. But if that doesn't work for you, then don't do that. You know your own system. You got to be true to your own system.
I'm gonna bring it over, maybe for David. Any tips for dealing with ambient noise in a home audiobook studio? I'm pretty sure I need to build a solid-sided booth to deal with the truck traffic, but can a dynamic shotgun mic really help? Also, do other let's work with that first question first for David.
Yeah, I was getting a little concerned when you started adding on the third part, thinking, oh crap, I hope I remember part one. Yeah, so certainly you have to get your studio up to par, right? You know, there's a certain broadcast industry standard you need to reach, and we can help you with that if you want. But I think from the sound of your question, I think you need to understand that there are two different acoustic solutions you're looking for. One is soundproofing and one is sound absorption. Soundproofing is making sure that extraneous noise does not get onto your microphone. And so if there's truck noise outside, you can either decide to record 3 in the morning when there isn't truck noise, or yeah, you can build a thick wall, you know, to block the noise. And yes, a shotgun microphone or the more directional type microphones will certainly help and can help a lot, a whole lot. Sound absorption is when you treat the interior of your recording area so there's no echo. And for that, you might use foam and blankets and pillows and cushions and things like that on the walls and carpeting on the ceiling and more moving blankets or foam on the ceiling. That is just for sound absorption. So there's no, like I said, no echo. I hope I answered the questions there. Siobhan, was that good?
I think
Is there more to add on there? I'm not sure.
No, I think hopefully that's getting started for Angela. There's so many screens to flip through. I want to try to get you all. If I don't get to you, it's not that I don't love you. It's just it gets bananas.
May I say that if people have questions that they can't get through to me, you can send me a line and I'll try and answer you.
That's super generous. And we'll drop in the chat our social medias and things like that at the end. I want to speak to Stephanie real quick, who was saying, I was about to do my demo with Johnnie at Edge when COVID started, so it's been put on hold. I have no home studio. I don't know what to do now. That's a real problem. That's a real sitch, and we empathize. So I think it sounds like it's on hold until we can be back in operation. Yeah. My guys, anything to add to that?
Well,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So we've had quite a number of students, in fact, more recently finding studios which are opened. Our New York studio is not open at the moment. We are still closed by Governor Cuomo. But if you can find a studio that will see you, then we're more than happy to take a listen to an audio sample from that studio and approve it. A lot of studios, and please listen everyone, a whole lot of studios claim that they record voiceover, and maybe they do, but their audio quality is not up to par. So any studio you decide to go to for your audio, for your demo recording, or if you have a home studio, we will approve that. And if we don't feel that it is absolutely broadcast industry standard, we're not going to approve recording the demo. So again, you can find a studio, drive to another state that may be opened, and record your demo there. You can wait for our studios to open, which I can't give you a date of because we don't know exactly when we can open our front doors again. It's driving me nuts. You know, we're paying for a floor in the Times Square area and it's sitting there empty, but we're just not allowed back in yet. Or just hold on until you can get into the studio. But in the interim, don't lose what you've gained, right? Keep working, keep practicing. Use our feedback form, which is free, for practicing. Take a session with Johnnie just to keep up, on your toes. Johnnie or Carol Mondo, they're both wonderful. Do what you can to kind of not lose, don't backtrack.
Yeah, there's definitely that's definitely a way that you're being impacted by COVID that not necessarily everyone is. And we just stay strong. Your demo's not going to go away with us. It will always be there to be recorded. So at least don't worry about that. And I'm a firm believer in always being a student. And I think a lot of my professional VOs in the house would vibe with me on that. And to that end, I want to get to James, who's asking Johnnie, what's your technique for keeping track of different speech patterns for all of your characters?
Is this Romick? Let's see.
Lewis.
James Lewis. Hey, Jim, how you doing? What I do in every recording software, there's some kind of bookmark feature. So once you found the character sound that you want for the character, which needs to be based on what the author wrote, not the fact that you can do an impersonation of Jimmy Stewart, it's got to be something that's organic. But once you find it, you just bookmark it. So when he comes up again, or she comes up again, it's there. What I tend to do, though, because I'm a Luddite, I use my iPhone and the voice memos. Let's see if I can hide this in the thing. Oh, you can't. It's this big wide screen. Under voice memos, going back to 2015 for me, are every voice I've done. Because a lot of times you do a book and you get a voice, like here's David Goldberg. And I base my characters based on my frame of reference. If I think a guy, I cast my book. David Goldberg should play this guy. I don't do an impersonation of David Goldberg, but it'll be different than how I would do it because he's a different style about him. The same if you pick Clint Eastwood or anything. I don't want an impersonation, but just who would you cast in that role? So once you have it and the voice comes out, however it comes out, I put down, this guy's name is Chet, and I do whatever, and I put a couple lines, and it's there, and it's saved, so that later on when Chet comes back in that book, or 2 years later, the author writes book 3, and I have to do it, I want to know what I did, so it's consistent. Because a lot of books, unbeknownst to you, become series, or are series, and you don't know it. So that's another thing. When you are making character choices, make sure you don't make a choice that hurts the instrument. Don't do so. If it hurts, it hurts. Don't do that. Make another choice.
Johnnie, here's a question. What if, and I have my own thought on this, but what if a voice actor takes the book and they have some number of characters and they record all of the lines of each character separately at the same time, and then they go back after completing all of the lines and then they edit the lines into the sequence of the book.
So do it more like a film than a book, where you shoot out a sequence?
Yes, yeah. So you record out of sequence. You record all of character 1, then you go back and you record all of character 2. It would require a lot of extra time just organizing all of the
It would require a veritable shitload of time that isn't going to be ever paid for, either in sales of the books or it's going to make you crazy. First off, I'd have to have someone else do all that. And I'd have to be there saying, put it here, put it here. And for me, storytelling is a linear experience. It keeps moving along. And I think if you take a bit here and a bit here and a bit here and try and mesh them together, it's not as good as the story comes along. In other words, I think you should tell the story. Peaks, valleys, highs, lows, surprises, setups, payoffs all throughout. I think that if we did it the way you just asked about, I think that would kind of hurt that process and hurt the story, in addition to the editing and technical issues. I do know there are times when, let's say, I did a book once, some old Western book with the 5 Irish guys having a Donnybrook in a bar in the West, because I don't know what 5 Irish guys do in the West, but 5 different separate guys from Ireland, all with words and characters in a fight. Now, for me, it was okay because I've been in a fight with 5 fellow Irish guys in a bar, and so it's okay. But if you haven't, it's really hard. And I can see where you do a character, get it out, get it done, take a second, then do the next guy, and then plug it in. I could see in a situation like that, maybe you do it, but for a whole entire book, I don't think it would be, I just don't think I think it would hurt the story. It would hurt the time. It would hurt, I think it'd be a mistake. It's just simply not how the audiobook process would allow that to happen, and it wouldn't be organic, and it wouldn't sound good, I don't think. I think.
Yeah, I know. I've come across just a handful of voice actors who have told me that they've done stories like that. They've read titles, and it didn't have that natural flow, except for one guy who had a number of characters, but each character line was only done a few times, and they were really spaced out throughout the book. But otherwise, the amount of editing would be just
a lot of audiobooks are now multicast. So if you're not in the studio with your other cast members, I'm reading Johnny's lines here, and Siobhan's reading Siobhan's lines there, and someone else is putting those together. But if it's a conversation, in general, I will read Johnny and Siobhan, and then on her chapter, she'll read Johnny and Siobhan. But if it's I say something, she says something, I say something, she says something, that's tricky to do unless you're in the same studio.
Okay, just because I'm cruising the chat here, and I think this is a cool question that might be fun for everybody. Someone's asking Johnny, what's your experience and your background as a stage actor? Where did you come from? How did you get into audiobooks?
Oh, I was in Chicago. I was actually a poli-sci American history major, but I did all this theater, and I had my own improv company, and I did stand-up comedy, did some stuff for Second City, so I was doing a lot of things. And then I left a career as a newspaper reporter to pursue theater. So I started working. I went to a 3-year acting program with those guru master things where you just spend 7 o'clock to like 1 or 3 in the morning discussing acting with a complete jerkwad guy who's an old guru, and takes 3 years to get, and you move up from Monday to Wednesday, and then Tuesday's the pro night, so you get to move up. So I was in there, and I was doing Shakespeare, and I thought I'd spend all my time being Puck for like $50 a week. And then I got that Campbell's Soup spot because agents came to some showcase that we did, and they thought I had a quirky voice, and they liked it, so they wanted me to audition to go. So that changed my career, and then from there I did a stage show in Chicago. I did Sheer Madness for a few years at the Blackstone Theater in Chicago, and after the curtain, I'd take off to the suburbs to do stand-up till like 3 or 4 in the morning. So my background is all that. And then I started traveling around, and I've always done theater. And then the audiobook things happened because I have a quirky voice. My friend Richard Ferrone knew that Recorder Books wanted somebody to do a lot of kids' books who was an adult but behaved not like one. So I got called in, and that's in 91. So I've been working ever since. So I started doing mostly YA and children's things, but now I do mostly adult things. Not dirty adult things, Not erotica. That's a different genre. No one wants to hear me talk erotica.
Oh boy.
It puts you right off, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Kind of a general question that might be good for some of my newer folks. How do you get into auditioning, Johnny? What do you recommend your students to get started when they've got their demos and they're trying to break in?
Okay. In the audiobook world, right?
Yep.
There's ACX, which you may have heard of. If you've ever been to Amazon and bought something, you have a password. Go to acx.com, and before you do anything, look at the videos and read the primer, read the things they have. They tell you almost everything you need to know. Look at ACX as sort of a Tinder that connects actors and authors whose books are not yet published in audio. And there's royalty shares, there's per finished hour payments, there's all these deals. You need to look, and so they've got, and if you put down the genre you want and what's there, and you see what's there, you audition for those, and that gets, now I'm going to say this, don't do crappy books just for the experience of having done a book. Don't do crappy books, because then you're a narrator who does crappy books. That's not your brand. Don't do that. If it's a crappy book, just say no. Well, one of the most powerful things, let me throw it, that we can ever say to anybody is no. Just because you're an actor doesn't mean it's yes all the time. I've got a part for you. I don't want that part. Say no. It's not enough money. Say no. You got to use no is a powerful thing, and you own that. But anyway, so ACX is a place. Find a Way is a place. If you find, let's say you're reading a book right now that you enjoy, see if that author has that book in audio. If they don't, are you the right person to record it? Get in touch with the author or the agent. Learn a little bit about how the process happens, and you can take them to Spoken Realms, to Find a Way, or to ACX yourself, and you can spearhead the project. And if every author wants their book out. Every painter wants their painting out. It's their baby. Of course they want it out there. If you can increase their notoriety, their fame, send their story out to the world, they want that, but know how to do it first. So that's a way. You can audition for something called ahabtalent.com. That's AHAB. That is Penguin Random House's website that you can upload your samples and your bio and your history and all that kind of stuff. And there's a whole bunch of publishers, a whole bunch of work for Penguin Random House, and they put auditions out there. They listen to your demos. They really do. It's a newer thing in the industry. It's a great way to get seen but don't do it until you're good. Okay? If seriously, listen to some people, and if you can't do what they do, learn until you can do it. This is always learning. As an actor, it's always learning. But don't set yourself up to work until you're good. You have one chance to make a first impression. Don't mess that up. Seriously. But Ahab is one thing. I know that Ergo, ERGGO.com is another site like that. A lot of the casting people are banding together of the different audiobook worlds, trying to find these sites. So I think Penguin Random House isn't the only one using their site, I think, or won't be in time. And I saw something flash by real quick. It said, how do I know if I'm good? If you ask the question, I think that's the question. We have, I remember I said in the beginning, you've got to know what you sound like. You got to know how you're perceived by others as well. You know if you're good. If you read a paragraph, how many mistakes do you make? Are you going too fast? Listen to the people who are getting the job. Let's say you want to narrate, I don't know, anybody, Lee Child. You want to narrate Jack Reacher. Well, Scott Brick is doing that now. Listen to him. Can you do that? What's he doing that you're not? If you don't like him, and it's fine, why don't you like him? You can't be like this. Like, you got to decide why. What are they doing that you don't like? What are they doing that you do like? What are they doing that got them the job that you're not doing? Are you good enough? Maybe. Maybe not. And if you're not, that's why Edge is here. Plain and simple. Get up your game and then work.
So I want to sort of condensing some of the other questions. There's been a lot of chat about websites and what a voice actor's website should look like. Should we have a photo? What should be on it? Should we have one at all? I don't know if we want to go to Johnnie and then to David on that question.
Let David start. I've been chatting away.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great question, because the website so is the liaison between you and so many clients. But for every one of your questions that Siobhan just mentioned, it depends. There are times to say yes and times to say no. So regarding a headshot, there's so much chatter in this industry about whether or not to have a headshot on your website. I honestly think that photos are great. They make you a human being, but if you don't sound like you look, then they can do harm. If you look, for example, Chinese, but speak American English as your mother tongue, and more specifically, if you don't even speak Chinese, you are Chinese, but you don't speak Chinese, people do make first impressions when casting based upon the way you look. Wrong, I know it's wrong, people stereotype. But you want to do nothing that can give anyone the wrong indication as to what you sound like. So if you look like you sound, I think it's great to put a picture. If you don't look like what you sound, how you sound, then maybe don't use a picture. I think websites have to be clear. Something Johnnie said, which is terrific earlier. He said, make it easy for clients to find your demo. I have been preaching this for years and years, and still to this day in our casting department, we go and seek a voice actor, and we go to their website, and we cannot find their demos. Sometimes it's simply because they don't call them demos. They may have a fancy header that says, wonder what I sound like, or listen to me, or portfolio, or something like that. So, we just go to a website hoping to find the word demos. And then you think about the fact that this is an international industry, right? So people from other countries who are looking for a voice actor possibly will find your website, and if they don't speak English as their mother tongue, they're also looking for demos, and they won't even know where to go. So demos on your home page, make the site simple. Put your phone number and email address on every page of your website, or if you have a one page, or put it at the top. I have come across voice actor websites where we can't even find contact information. I will, and I could go on, but I will just say one more thing. Most voice actors have a form on their website, like a contact me form. Very often they write contact us, and I don't personally like the third person thing. But anyway, the contact me form or request an estimate form, and that's fine. But still, in addition, have an email address and phone number, because we find in our casting and production department that half of new clients will use the form on our website, whereas half of our new clients will call or email us. And that's over 31 years of data. So it pretty much indicates, with some empirical data, I think, right, that there are a lot of clients who want to call and do not want to fill out forms. So do everything you can to allow the prospective client, your prospective client, to get in contact with you easily. So they have to be able to go to your website and feel that they've found the right voice actor, meaning they can find your demos. You have to provide trust so they can trust that you can do the job, and make it easy for them to contact you. Those are the things to consider.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah. Anything else?
Real quick, I think a website's absolutely mandatory, whether you have a picture or not. I think David's right, entirely up to you. I think people tend, in this day and age where you're on every social media platform there is, people tend, you're not hard to find in general or to see. If you put a picture of somebody, if I put in, give me a picture of Joe McMurray, and I click on Google, it's going to pop up. There'll be some picture of him, just because that's the age we live in. You could also start with, you could, if you look weird, have somebody draw a cartoon of you or something. Get one of those little emoji guys. Another idea. But be easy to find. Someone said, is there a cheap web development? You can make your own. You can use, there's a million things. If you look, if you follow me on Facebook, there's all these groups I'm in, these voiceover groups. There's Edge on Facebook. Just half the questions you're asking, if you put in the search bar, they're answered for you. They're everywhere. So your questions are intelligent, but most have been asked and answered, as we say in court. And you can find them on social media and research that. But again, anything you don't get the answer to that you want, I'm busy, but I'll do the best I can. I'm sure David will, and Siobhan as well, to try and answer your questions. That's what we want. We want to be a resource for you.
So Siobhan, can you tell everyone how to send us questions and what happens?
Absolutely. So the main thing of all, well, not the main thing, but one of the things I think that we're kind of getting to, how do you a thesis perhaps, is like, how do I know that I'm good? How do I know about the production sound in my studio? How do I know all of these things? You need to check in with professionals and experienced folks who've been working in the business to let you know. We are not telling you to go anywhere in specific. We are here to have a community and good times with y'all. Of course, we offer these services. So David can check in on your home studio. Johnnie can work with you and coach you on your characters for audiobooks. That's something we offer. Whether you do that with us or elsewhere, it's really important to know these kinds of things. And so in terms of that with us, we do have some special things going on. The first thing is that we actually have a coaching discount, which is $25 off if you use this code AMA at this link, and you can get a coaching session with Johnnie himself if you want to work in audiobooks, or with Carol. If you haven't worked with Johnnie yet, I totally recommend it. But this also works for coaching with David or any of our instructors in the studio. People have been asking a lot of questions about beginning the workload in voiceover, and we do have an awesome class coming up, which is the ad agency casting process with Jennifer Sims in LA. She's going to break down a lot of ad agency stuff that a lot of us may not know. And so it's super fun, $50 for 2 hours of an awesome group class. And then finally, for folks who are thinking about demos, we do have a demo special with David Goldberg if you want to work specifically with him, and that is the link to that. I would also love if you would take the moment right now to please drop your social media handles into the chat. I will be posting them on our feeds and making sure that we're all following each other. Let me know if it's Instagram or Twitter, which one you're doing, but if you drop it in the chat, I will save this chat, and then I will be posting and following y'all through our feeds, which is social media, which is Edge Studio social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And yes, I see people doing it. Wonderful. I love it. Love to see it. Love to see new friends.
Good God.
And so when you talk on Twitter, you will be talking to me. I'm the voice, the Twitter voice. So if you have specific things you want to ask me about, or when you speak to Edge Studio, here we go. This is great. Then you're going to be just talking to me. So you know that. And then, yeah, and if you want to speak to Johnnie or David, obviously this is a free hour. I can't give you free time with either of these gentlemen, unlimitedly, but we are here for you and want to support you. And we understand that we're all trying to take one day at a time right now. So anything else to add on, David, Johnnie? Any other questions about that?
I would like to just thank Johnnie for his time, for being our special super duper guest. and you're awesome. And Siobhan, you're also awesome. I'd like to thank you for just doing such a terrific job at fielding questions. We had a lot of people on, and I can't imagine how many posts are coming up, but you're fielding them and you're on top of things. So thank you. And
Yes,
most
it's
importantly, I'd like
crazy.
to thank everyone for being on this call. My goodness, it's great to give an hour. It shows that you're devoted to voiceover, and that is awesome. Someone's putting up a thank you sign. That's so cool. Oh, Dina, I worked
Yeah.
with you. Hey, Dina. Um,
Thanks,
so
Tina.
it's awesome to see all of these faces and stuff, and great to just to know that you're really participatory in this industry, this terrific, cool ass industry. So thanks for being here, everyone.
Yeah, I just want to thank
Yeah.
everybody. I had a great time, and I meant what I said. I'm easy to find on Facebook, Twitter, and my email's my name right there. So it's and I'm here. I'll do whatever I can for you as much as I can. If you ask me for things that I can't do, and I'm gonna make you pay. Okay, there.
Yes, and for my people who have their cameras on, just like Up Twinkle's Jazz Hands for Johnny, he's giving us this hour of his time very generously, and because he cares about our community. And I want to shout him out. These people are dear to me in this world, and you all are dear to me. It's actually a highlight of David and our time here in quarantine to get to see y'all's beautiful faces across the country,
So
and in
wonderful.
some cases, the world. Yeah, thanks for joining us. It means a lot to us. I will see you on the social medias, and let's chat. Yes, Charlie, message me on Instagram, okay? And we will carry on that conversation. Mwah! Until next time. Oh, let me look at a calendar. It's June. Isn't that wild? But we will be back. We will be back on the 18th, same bat time. Where's my Rocky Horror friend? I know he appreciated that last time. So, okay. Love you all. Be safe. Be well. Wash your hands. And take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
I'm gonna save this chat, and I'm gonna
Siobhan, do I
end
just
this
leave then?
meeting.
Am I done? Do you want
You
me?
can just leave, yeah. And I'll be
Okay.
posting the recording on social media also. You can
Okay.
save the chat if you need to
Hey,
right
Alan.
now in your little corner.
Carlson.
And okay, yes, goodbyes, waving to my people. Bye.